Bill.
Let me see where did it go here? Hold on a second.
Recording.
All right.
What, guys? This is Casey is Raw, and this is episode 3 of Beerstuff Brad. And you can see, apparently, he is our new president of the United States. God bless you. But today we're going to talk about his PC history.
PC history. Yes, I'm taking over for Sleepy Joe right now. He's in nap time. He just had his snacks and his cookies, and he wasn't feeling too good, so I put him down for a quick nap here. So I'm just taking over things while he's sleeping. Okay, no worries. I got the nuclear football right here. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it.
So hold on. Are you technically president if he falls asleep, or are you just temporary, or what?
Well, Kamala is out of the country, so I'm taking over because she can't technically be the vice president while the president is in nap time. So they signed it over to me, and so that's why I'm in control of things. Don't worry, I'm in control. Don't worry, I'll do the same things Joe does. I'll mumble a little bit sometimes and not know where I'm at, maybe, or pee on the floor or something. I mean, I'll be just the same as Joe.
I saw when I came on and answered the Brad's call. It was just like this, like I was like, "What? Are you the president now?" But yeah, we hadn't done this in a while, and I figure we're both home for Thanksgiving, so why not do his PC gaming? And I'll talk a little bit about mine as well.
Sure. So I don't know if you want me to start, but
go ahead.
I got a deep roots in PC gaming, and and what I mean by that is I grew up in a household where my dad was a computer programmer from the mid 70s, probably early 70s on, and he retired as one. And what happened is when back in the early 80s, his company he was working with, they gave him like a few computers. They just gave him these IBM computers, and it even had a Mac, and they gave him a Mac, and they gave it to him so he could like work on it and experiment and stuff. And of course, really? My dad, of course, we got a bunch of damn games. I mean, we got a bunch of damn games, and I had an older brother. He's about 10 years older than me, and he loved it. He was really into it, and of course, he had a lot more say on the games than me because I was like a little kid. But yeah, I mean, I remember the first PC game I ever played was actually a offbeat side thing of a popular arcade game called Digger. And Digger, of course, is like this mole going around trying to, and it was a fun game. And it was black and white. Okay, this is before color even. Okay, it was black and white on an old ass CRT that you either had black and white or you had green and black, like Matrix style command lines.
Yeah.
And it was fun. It was like a DOS game, I believe, and it was nice. I liked that game, and that was probably my first foray into computer gaming. I was like, wow, how am I doing this at home? Because I had played this game somewhere in an arcade before, and I was like, wow, I'm playing this at home. And my friends would come over and like, wow, how do you got this in your? And it's like, I don't know, my dad put it in here, you know. But no, I think those games early on, it was games like that, and there was also a boxing game. I can't remember the name of it, but it was very similar to like Punch Out. And,
really?
And it was like 8 rounds. You had all these different quirky characters that you had to fight, and it was difficult too. My brother played that game constantly.
Was it just as racist as Punch Out? Because you have all the arcade game, they had an Italian guy named Pizza Pasta.
Yes. It was they had like a British guy with a big nose, you know, or big teeth or something. And yeah, it was like that. And there's like a black guy from like the Bronx, And then there was a Russian guy that had like, and then there an Arabic guy with a turban. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh yes. And then the American guy looked like he was Mario, right? He's the
Oh, really?
tiny little guy, like right. And then the guy's huge. Um, but no, I remember playing those games a lot. I didn't really know a lot how to play them at the time because it was new to me, and I was
Mhm.
just pressing keyboard trying to figure out what did what. Because back then it's like you didn't have a controller. It's like you had to use your keyboard,
Yeah.
and the keys were really weird. They were usually the function keys on the keyboard.
Oh, really? That's
Um, it
keys.
wasn't like arrow keys even. And there was no mouse. There was no mouse.
Yeah,
Um,
during that time frame, you didn't have a mouse.
yeah,
I mean,
it was
was it?
it was difficult, man, and it was hard. But eventually, you catch on. I would watch my brother while he played it. I would like stand over his back and be like, "Okay, so that's the key you got to do to punch and jab. All right, and that's how you block. That would have been helpful."
Oh,
Um, but no, I remember those games, and then I remember after that, technology moved on, DOS moved on, it got into color, right? And once
yeah.
color came in, it was like, whew. My dad at the time, he had a contract where he was actually doing some work for a company called Sierra. Sierra was a game producer at the time. They did a lot of different
Yeah.
games, and so there was like a jungle, like almost like Indiana Jones type thing on the Mac on Sierra that I played. It's amazing.
Hmm.
And then there was like Sierra Skiing or something like that. Amazing game on the PC. And then, of course, my dad got this game that was an adult game on DOS. It was in color for the PC. That game was called Leisure Suit Larry and the Lounge of the Lizards.
No.
Now, my brother played, I saw him playing it a lot, and I was like, wow, this must be a cool game. But then I would try to go sneak on there when nobody's in the room, boot up the computer, and then it would have this age test before you could play
Yeah.
it. And it would be like 5 questions, 4 or 5 questions, and it would determine if you know your history based on the age you put in. So if you put in 18, it would give 18 years of history. So I would always fail this crap. And this is before Google, right? You couldn't just
Yeah.
pop out your phone and be like, hey, when was Ronald Reagan born or something? It was hard. So I would fail that crap consistently. So I was like, oh, this is stupid. This is like a trivia game or something. This is Wheel of Fortune. And so I just kind of took it away. I said, forget about it. I forgot about it. And I did for a long time. And so and eventually, of course, you had the Windows come up, and Windows for me was awesome because there was so many different games that came out. I remember going to the store as a Comp USA or Best Buy or
Mm.
at the early days and going in the computer aisle, seeing Doom, seeing Duke Nukem,
Yeah.
uh, and seeing games like God, there's so many of them. Those early shooters were amazing.
Yeah.
Took those home, played them. I played them for hours. The shooters were my first, binge gaming experience on the PC. I would say playing that for 8 hours on a Saturday, and maybe like, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock at night, and by that time I was a lot older, so I think with those games, at some point or another, I've noticed there was like a change between the shooters and then the RPG games, or not the RPG. It wasn't really called RPG at the time, but
I,
there was
I
games like
mean,
Age of Empires and StarCraft, right? Those were like the ones I remember
okay.
first. And Zach, who
Yeah.
and who lived next door to me at the time, I would go over there, and they were always playing. I'd be at home playing like Duke Nukem or something, or Doom, or Quake or something, and then I go over next door, and they're playing like Age of Empires. What is this? What is this shit? what is this? This looks interesting. This looks like complicated, like strategy and stuff. It made you think more than shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really interested in it. And then I would go back, and my dad would be like, no, stupid. And I ended up having to wait for those as well. I could never. I don't. It's just like the opposite of what you would think. Most parents would buy their kids the strategy thinking games. They would buy me the shooting games instead. Uh, you know. So I kept on playing the first person shooters, the Eric shooters, the all that stuff on the PC in the early days. And later on, when I was old enough, I would say maybe 14, 15, 16, then I was like, okay, I can buy this stuff. I have money saved up. I'm going to buy an Age of Empires 2, StarCraft, and I love those games. Around that time is when I rediscovered Larry because my dad still had these old ancient computers at that time. That we considered them to be ancient because compared to Windows.
Oh yeah.
So I would go on there and boot it up, and I said, let's see if I can figure some of these questions out. So I memorized the answers to the questions. There's like a whole bunch of questions, and I wrote them down. Me and Zach actually, we wrote them
Yeah.
down, and so we knew the answers, and we got to play the game. And of course, once you get to play the game, you understand what it's about, and you're like, oh, this is cool. It's a game about trying to have sex.
Yeah, one thing was, I think in the beginning you can immediately do it, and then pretty much it's game over because the whore must have an STD, and it was over, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like the first level is like this bar. You go in there, you sit and drink. And what was cool about the game is you would type stuff. This is no mouse. You would be like, look around and you can get a description of the room. Look at the bartender. Look at this person. Look at that. Or you could be like, have a shot of beer or a shot of whiskey, drink some wine, and then you go to the bathroom and you could go in there, take a piss. And it's okay. And he pisses. Or you take a dump, okay, and he sits there and he reads the newspaper. But then if you stand up and you say, wipe, and he wipes, he says, oh, he wipes himself and throws away the paper. And then if you flush the toilet in that bar, it drowns you. The toilet overflows and it drowns you. It says you died because of poor plumbing or something. So yeah, and then there's also like a hooker in there, and if you do it unprotected with the hooker, you die of STDs or AIDS or something.
Yeah.
Because this is like 80s, right? And yeah, and then it's like shit, I just wasted all that time, and you died because of an STD, which is like so like raunchy and like dark, right? For a game that early, and it was, I mean. I still look at it now. I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." But yeah, we finally cracked into that game, started playing it, and it took like a few weeks until we were able to beat it. But we did beat it. And beating it being that you didn't die of AIDS, you didn't go broke, you didn't get killed by pimp, and that you married this chick you met at a disco at a casino chapel next door or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, before we move on, I highly suggest to you and everyone to watch the Game Grumps on that game, Leisure Suit Larry. They did an awesome series about that. It's funny as hell. I highly suggest even you watch it, Brad.
I'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, absolutely. I
funny.
love that. I love that game. It brings back tons of nostalgia for me, right? I remember playing that game, seeing my brother play it, and being like, "What does it mean?" And then when I played it myself, I was, "Oh, okay." And you can buy condoms in this game, for Christ's sake, right? And you can buy Playboy magazines. This is like unlike any game I still have played to this date. And I don't think now in PC culture land, I don't think any game like this would ever stand again. But yeah, but no.
I think there's more game. I think you can get away with games than you could like with film right now. I don't know why, but I feel like you can get away with it a little bit more in video
Right.
games. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering, did you ever play with the Apple II at all?
I did. I learned to type on an Apple too. It's kind of crazy. People ask me, like, when did you learn to type? Did you do it in school? Or say, well, I did take one in school, but by the time I took it in school, I was so good that they were like, eh. And I remember taking a keyboarding class in school, and the teacher came up to me and like, have you been practicing? Do you have a typewriter at home? And I was like, no, we've had an Apple II for the last 10 years. So, but no, Apple II games were pretty fun. They were really fun. There was a lot of them by Sierra back then, and I thought they were the easiest to play. And that was the thing about them is the interface and the inputs made it so seamless. And that's where really I think PC kind of, stole it from. People always talk about them stealing Windows and whatnot, but I think it was really for the gaming, because the gaming really showed it. But no, I loved Apple II. And here's the thing. Back then, Apple gaming was actually pretty decent. Nowadays, you can't say that, right? But it's just not, it's non-existent for Apple now. But I don't know about you.
I do have, it's funny you talked about the typewriting class or keyboard class. I think it was the same school we went to in intermediate high school.
Mm-hmm.
And went for keyboard or wherever. And I was doing it. They had an electronic keyboard, typewriter.
Typewriters, yeah.
Yeah. And you had to watch the teacher because she will look around, see who's watching their hands and stuff.
Right.
And there's a little window on the typewriter where, hey, Dukas.
Here comes the dog.
Oh, shit. I thought, knowing when I reached down to pick him up, I thought the chair was about to break. But no, it was slipping underneath. Here's the weasel.
There's the weasel. Here he is. Hello. Hello.
Dukas! That's the president, weasel. President Brad.
Unlimited bones. Unlimited treats. For all the dogs in the world.
I love
we'll just make one party or the other pay for all of them.
But so the typewriter they had a little window, and you can hold the words in that window, so you could, like, when she's not looking, you could go look down and type it, and look back up, and then when you hit enter, it goes.
Yeah, like a typewriter. Yeah.
Well, and she'll like, who's cheating? And I'd still fake it like I'm doing something so she wouldn't think.
The thing about typewriting classes is that, or keyboarding with a typewriter class, is once you type something, you can't backspace that shit. It's on paper. No, it's like on there, and you can't get through it, right? Like you can go back and strike it out, but it's still there.
Yeah.
Right? Nowadays, they're doing, I don't even know if they do that even nowadays, keyboarding. That's a good question.
I'm sure they do it.
But they have to like disable the backspace or delete or something, because you just go back, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, the typewriter still is a good way to go. I mean, you buy computers and then you're just wasting money. I'd stay with the typewriters, if you ask me.
It's like, do they sell typewriters anymore? That's another thing. It's like, I bet they do. I bet you they do. Someone uses those.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because if you don't want that shit to be online or something, or maybe if it's really confidential or something, just do it on a typewriter. I mean, why not? There's got to be like But of course, at some point, because the PC, that's how the PC took over the typewriters, the printer, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you just attach this accessory and then you type and then it puts it over to the printer and it prints it out and it goes, it sounds like the transformer noise is what it
Yeah.
sounds like. A lot of
Well,
people our age don't know what that sounds like, right? There are
oh
people.
yeah, because and that's probably either because it's the printing or it's the paper that's sliding through. It's
Yeah.
but as I played with the Apple II when I was in elementary school with and one when you went to computer class or the computer room for like a let's say just for I don't know why we just did it. I guess if if they didn't want to have us to go out and have recess, you can go play computers wherever. Mm-hmm. And we would play. Obviously, you got to play Oregon Trail.
Oh my God, yes. I played that at school, right? I played that. Yeah. I remember playing that at school. It's an amazing game.
And then games like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Oh, jeez. I hated that bitch.
And you know how rare is that actually to have her as the villain? A lot of times it's all her henchmen. And you, in a every once blue moon, she'll be the one.
I remember something about that game. There was one of her henchmen that would always hang out in New Orleans, and they would be like, "He's eating Creole," and then this is where I learned about Creole food, right? And Creole is like natural to people in New Orleans, and I was like, I still remember that for all these years later. Creole food, Carmen Sandiego. That's where I learned of its existence. From a Carmen Sandiego henchman hiding in New Orleans. But I never found it. Because I would go play that in computer class, in the last part of computer class when I was younger, and I'd never found her. Right. And I remember because also back then there was a TV show, Where's the Room? And they had this lady. Yeah. And I would go home and watch that and be like, man, how do you find her like so easy? You always get these like short things of her. It's like, I could never find this lady. But I could go back to Oregon Trail and die of dysentery or whatever, or diarrhea or something. But it was great. Oregon Trail, you mentioned that game. How many times did you play Oregon Trail when you set up the characters' names? You hate, right? So
really?
So that you could purposely kill them from like some disease or something, or wandered off during the night.
Usually I would put my friends, and it's like, dude, I'm sorry, you died, man. I was like, oh fuck, we lost you, bro.
Here's your tombstone. Sorry.
Yeah. But and the other game I really liked is Number or Math Munchers.
Math Munchers. I remember that one too. Yeah, that was an educational game.
Yeah. Or Letter Muncher. I really liked that. But like you said, it was a educational. And I think games like, all those games were all really educational.
They were.
Even Oregon Trail, they told you a little bit and teach you a little bit how to what you need to do.
That's something Apple did really good. Think about it. We're like 40 something years old now, and it's like we're thinking about those games and stuff we learned on those games now.
Yeah.
Right? You can't say that about every other console game or PC game, right? It's like, I learned how to kill people with a semi-automatic machine gun on Duke Nukem and say hail to the king. Come on. Right? There's stuff you learn. I learned stuff on those, and it's stuck with me till this day. Apple was really good at that. At some point, I don't know.
They did it very, very well. Even Nintendo couldn't do it right because people like the games on Nintendo, you have uh, Mario is missing.
I remember
Well,
that one.
people
Yeah.
like no, like you're into getting the beginning of the game, and it's educational. It's like, and it's just stupid. It's
It's
awful.
dumb, right?
And then the same thing with Mario's Time Machine. It's just stupid because it's not fun at all. Well, like you
Right.
said, Apple did it well. Good job. And like I remember, gosh, I guess I always had problems when doing typing because my
Right.
mom had this stupid. Well, I guess it's not stupid. I hated it. It's like that. Was it? Trying to think of it. What's called, but it's for Windows. It's Mrs. Mavis or something like that typing, and you'd be
Mavis
typing.
Bacon Mavis Bacon
Yes,
teaches typing or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. I hated that fucking thing. I hated that, and I was forced to use that because, I mean, after a while, I did learn. Every once in a while, I still look down, but I'm pretty quick with typing, anyways. Sometimes I look, sometimes I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly,
Exactly.
it's for those people who's going to be working not only on the keyboard, like probably for people who's going to write a bunch of stuff. I
Yeah.
mean,
I've
and
worked with
honestly,
people. I've worked with people, Casey, that are our age, right? And I'll be
yeah,
honest with you. And I see them. I would see them. I'd look over and I would see them typing, and they'd be
yeah,
typing with two fingers, right? And
like
looking at the
this,
keyboard, boom, boom, boom. And by the time I'm done with like a whole paragraph, I'm looking and they're over there doing this one, two finger shit, and I'm like, wait a second, what happened here? You must not went to the same school I did, or something. Or something happened. But I feel like I'm very blessed because I don't have any issues with time. Sometimes I'll look, maybe I'll miss a key and I'll look, you know,
yeah.
and I'll backspace and I have to hit it. Fine. But everybody's like, oh, you're such a fast typer. You're really fast. I'm like, I'm not. I'm just. I mean, I'm not even trying really. I'm not having to
Well,
do two fingers. How do
well,
these people do this?
well. I mean, well. You've been playing with PCs forever, so like you said, I mean, it just got you just got used to it easily. It's kind of like
Sure.
if you're going to play with a controller. I mean, you're going to eventually figure out which button does what. It's
Exactly.
just,
And it sticks with you for years. It's like
yeah,
picking up a a Super Nintendo controller, and playing a game that you played in the '90s. You remember those buttons without even thinking, right? You just
yeah,
remember. Well, if it's somebody else who didn't really play with the Nintendo that much, maybe they they couldn't afford it or whatever. Maybe they had a Sega, and then they pick up a Nintendo and they'd like die on level one on Mario before like the first jump,
yeah.
and and it's like, how did you not know how to jump? How do you know how to jump?
Oh,
So
this is off topic, but I was playing a game on my Turbo Graphics, and it's
right,
Darkwing Duck, and it has the worst hit detection box where you jump on someone and you can kill someone if you get jump on them at the right spot, but you would take more damage than take. Most of the time, you get hit than killing them with your stomp. It was
yeah.
just awful because the hit detection is horrible, and it was just bad. It's god awful. I mean, Disney always had great games, mainly on the NES and
hmm
on the Sega Genesis, and probably on the Super Nintendo. But I had to bring that up. But oh gosh, I remember a lot of times. I think we're around this time frame. that I used to come over to your house all the time, and the biggest game we would always play.
Oh my God.
Was
I know you're going to say it, The Sims. I was about to say that. Yeah. So when I was, because I used to play all these shooter games, and then I got into the RPG Age of Empire games. I got like a computer for my 11th grade, 12th grade or something, and they got me my own computer. It's a compact, right? Doesn't exist anymore. Compact, and it was okay with the graphics for like the RPG games, the Age of Empires, StarCraft. But for the shooting games, it was out of the question because you had to like upgrade your crap, and we didn't have that money. So, but one game that it did which was intermediate, was a game called The Sims, and I had played SimCity before on consoles, so I was familiar with the maker of this, right? And it was very similar, right? It had a lot of the same type of themes to it. And I loved that game because it was cool because you had complete control over whatever you wanted to do. You could build like a tiny shack for somebody to live in. You could build a mansion.
Yeah.
Right? You could put all these people in this game and name them whatever you wanted, just like Oregon Trail, right?
Yeah.
And you could kill these people if you wanted to. You could build a wall around them. They could die in a closet. They could go into a swimming pool. You could remove the ladder, and they'll drown and pee themselves in the swimming pool and die in the swimming pool. It was fun, but it was also around the same time that people were starting to use these patches in these games. And people were doing it on the shooter games too back then, but I wasn't playing because my damn computer wouldn't run it. And so you could have all these different graphics. But on The Sims, what that meant is you could have all these cool different things, furniture, cars, and wallpapers, and refrigerators. And of course, there was a patch for The Sims where you could make them nude, and there you could also see what they're doing under the blankets, and there's things like that. And I was like, okay.
Oh yeah.
And I was a high school. I mean, I was just out of high school, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do that. And I found all the greatest patches out there, and I installed that crap. And people would watch me play The Sims. They're like, what the hell? You got your neighbors walking around naked, and and so no, you could do anything you wanted, and you could build like a White House. You could put a giant mansion and have as much money as you wanted and hack it for as much money. And it was still fun. It was still fun because it's like you could be like a guy living in one house with your family, right? And then the daughter gets born, and then she gets to be an adult or something and starts having like an affair or something with the neighbor's husband or something. And it was true. Or I mean, you could control it, do whatever you want with it. It was a fun game. I like, and then there was a ton of expansions after that.
I love I think one of my favorite parts is, I believe, doesn't you can get robbed?
Yeah, a robber would come in the middle of the night, unless you had like an alarm, because you could have an alarm, and they would rob all your shit. They would take your TV and stuff, and it costs you money.
Oh, you're cooking food and you don't remove it fast enough, your house is going to go on fire.
Or you burn.
Yeah. I remember that we had a whole neighborhood. I know you had made a house for me, and I think I helped you design it.
Yep,
and then,
you did.
And I think maybe Zach had a house, and I don't know.
Bear had one even. I think Bear had a house, and so everybody in this neighborhood has like 12 houses. And it's funny because it would be on there and it would be going even after you're not playing it, right? So Casey maybe she didn't come over for 2 weeks, and then he'd come back. And you go over to Casey's house, and there's like trash all over the floor, and he's got like a beard, and there's pee all over the floor and stuff because you weren't like there to direct him to go to the toilet. and there's like burned. There's walls missing because there's a fire and shit.
Hey,
You have to fix it.
it sounds like me. But
that was a great game.
Oh yeah, and like I'm wondering how it is playing it nowadays, like the newest Sims. I mean, oh gosh, I remember one of my favorite games. But I think you got me into this as well as I think it was Warcraft, right? 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Warcraft. Yeah, that game. I think that's after Sims. I was like, okay, because Sims was super addicting, addicting, time consuming. You could play it shit for hours, and then you look up and you're like, oh my god. And I had like, I was only like, I was an early man at that point, and I was like, I had to step back and be like, okay, this is too addicting, and I stepped away from it. And I went back to playing like some N64 games or something at the time, or PlayStation games, because I was like, I just can't waste all my time with that. But then Warcraft came around, and it just changed everything, right? It was like the best of both worlds of Age of Empires and like a StarCraft and a little bit of a shooter, right? So it was light years away from everything, and it was really addicting too. But it was really, really fun. It was like so much strategy and everything. I lost it with those early Warcraft games.
I loved it. Did you know Warcraft 2? I believe I know at least 2 was on the PlayStation. I think it was on the Sega Saturn, and I believe. Well, let's see. I know. Trying to see if I can reach without the phone falling. I know I have it somewhere. Yeah, I got Warcraft 2 on the PlayStation 1.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I also got it on the Sega Saturn. But yeah, I mean, I played the Sega Saturn one. It's just as good as the PC, and I would cheat on it, and I wouldn't put like no damage, but I would like get all the gold, and I would obviously start with a ton of gold and a ton of wood. Now you're on the Enterprise.
Yeah. Joe woke up, so I had to take off, and I'm here taking over for Picard while he eats turkey dinner. So.
And he's British, though. He wouldn't eat.
Yes, but the Klingons do celebrate Thanksgiving, so Worf is there, and Worf made a honey baked turkey, so he has to eat it.
Oh gosh!
No, it's Warcraft. I think was the game that really opened it up for like online gaming. Because back then it was very primitive, and then Warcraft kind of took it over. And I remember my first year in college, which was like a junior college, I played a game called EverQuest, which was like a precursor to World of Warcraft, and it was amazing. And there's another online game I played at that time, and you mentioned this too, which is Matrix Online. Matrix Online was amazing. It was like this open virtual world where you could live your life and do all these. You had these other missions that you had to do in the background, right? And it was just amazing because you could go chat to people. There was even voice chat back then, and it was amazing. It was just unlike anything you could ever think of, right? Because beforehand, if you wanted to play somebody on a computer game, you'd have to land them by cord, and it'd be in the same room or in the same house or building, right?
Yeah.
And so these games started popping up out of nowhere. There's EverQuest, and these Matrix Online, all these games, and by the time I was done with college, the World of Warcraft was starting to come around, and so it was like, it was just, it just exploded. And the same goes for your computer. You had to make sure your computer was updated always, right? And it was expensive. Let me tell you, it was expensive. I built several computers, tried to keep them updated, tried. It's like, that's where all my money went. It was like gone. People are like, why don't you have one of the new Xboxes or the PlayStations. It's like, no, because I have had to upgrade my computer every damn 4 months, So that's why. But it just took off from there. I did take a break though. I think I played World of Warcraft. I remember playing that beta actually. I remember playing World of Warcraft beta, and it was Christmas time. And on Christmas Day, they put up this big. They put this in-game giant, like it's like 10-story high Christmas tree in the game, and everybody was there. And it was awesome. It was an awesome thing. And back then, it was like a few hundred, under 1,000 players on there. But yeah, and then that game exploded. And then there's other ones that came after that. I stopped playing after I got out of school. I was like, I can't do this shit. One, because I was involved with a girl at the time, and I had other things to do, and but no, and then I couldn't afford the damn upgrades anymore. So I took a break from that and started going back into console gaming. Around that time, I think it was like I started playing like I think Wii or something like that at that point.
Oh shit!
And I went back to that. I said, okay, let's see what Nintendo's got now. And
That
but
was
no,
bad timing.
yeah, I mean, but I've always been a pretty knowledgeable about what's going on in the gamings on computer, but and I'm still at the point right now where it's like I see people with these badass machines that have like liquid cooling and and lights up like a Starship Enterprise, and I'm like, that's nice, but how much money did you spend on that?
Yeah, no shit.
At this point, I think if I wanted to play a game like that, I'd just buy me a console and just give me a PS5. Looks damn near the same at this point. So is the Xbox. So why not? So it's cheaper. So
it's funny. You get this shit. This is off topic again, but I thought this was bullshit. But apparently, there's an Xbox Series X mini fridge out there.
There is. I've seen it. Zach told me about it. Zach got one of those damn X's. He got one of those Series X's. Yeah. And he was telling me about it. There is. And he sent me a photo of it. And it's a mini fridge. It's like it would be awesome to have one just because how it looks. It looks badass.
Yeah. I wonder if it's the same size of the Series X, or is it? I'm wondering if it's a little bigger. I mean, they do have like a little fridge that you could put like just a can of soda in there. So I guess they could do that. I would prefer, honestly, I would love to have that. Because let's say if I have like I want something to drink, but I want to hide it pretty good. I was like, I'm gonna go to my fridge real quick and get me a soda, and just go open up the Series X and pull it out. I think that'd be bad.
I'm looking at a picture of it. It's not like the ones that have like 2 bottles of space in it, but it's also not like the typical mini fridge that you can put like a 24-pack in, right? It's about in between. I would say there's probably about maybe like 6. You could probably put 16 cans of Coke in there.
Really?
And the inside is all green. But on the outside, it looks just like the Series X. I mean, it looks identical.
Oh, yeah.
Down to the logo and the paint on it.
Right? And I believe does it still have the disk drive on it, like the little slot for it?
Let me see. I mean, it would be kind of interesting to have one of those. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are like hardcore gamers, have these setups that are all light up and everything. And if you want a mini fridge to have your Red Bull in it or whatever drink you want in there, hey, there you go. Get you an Xbox Series X fridge. I mean,
I'm thinking that right now we were talking about this off camera, but I was talking about picking up this little mini PC box for a bunch of games. I think I'm gonna just get that, but I would love to get that. I mean, I heard Target is selling them. I might tomorrow go see if.
Yeah, look on Black Friday. Maybe there might be some like sales on those. I think it'd be kind of a neat thing to add, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for you especially because you're a collector.
Yeah.
That's like a huge collector's item, I think. And if
I
you
think it'd
use
be.
it, I mean, I would use it too.
Oh, definitely. I would put it. There's a
I would
section
use
in
it.
the game. There's a section in the game room that it's just. Well, you know my old parents' wood entertainment center that we had the
Right.
TV in there. Well, my brother modified it so we could put the giant big screen TV in there,
Of course, you got to.
but we still have it. But one of the sections is open up where I can put all the plugs and the power adapters. But so
Right.
it's just open up like that. So I
Right.
could put the Series X mini fridge right in that spot. So it blocked that up, and plus I can throw a couple mini fridges or some. No, I mean mini like some cans of Coke or like maybe a dessert for future use. And so I don't
Maybe.
have to go all the way to the garage or to the kitchen. I just open it up, get a can, and go.
Why not? I mean, that you don't
Yeah.
have to go all the way into the damn kitchen. I mean, why not? And they say,
Yeah.
I remember because Zach told me he's like they're quiet too, because a lot of those fridges are noisy, but they're like it's super silent. So you could have somebody might come over and see all those consoles and the
Yeah.
TV, and they'll see that they're you got an Xbox Series X. They will
Yeah.
probably think it is, and they'll be like, what
Yeah.
the hell? And then you'll be like, hey, you want a drink? And you open it up, and they're like. What the hell? What the hell?
You know, I'll bet you money sometime in the future, someone's going to have it rigged up where it'll probably do both. You know?
Yeah, I could see that too. I could see that where it's actually a fridge and a system.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool too. That would be cool just to have. Just to say, look, my fridge can also play these games. Maybe if it's like even a
Well,
retro Xbox, that'd be kind of cool. Like,
that's what I was thinking. Maybe just a board they put in. You can put like in that button in there, and you can still play off of it. But it wouldn't be obviously a Series X. So it wouldn't work. But you could
no,
probably take one of those boards like we're talking about and hide it and modify it. Have someone modify it for you. It's not a
that's
bad
it.
idea.
That the modifying game right now, I'll tell you, that's something I'm getting back into now. Is like it's like a merger of your console games and your PC games, right? Because
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of both, right, from my childhood until now, right, and now
Mhm.
it's like I'm finding myself merging the two together, the retro games and the PC gaming together, and these like Raspberry Pi modded systems, and there's a huge market out there right now,
Oh
and
yeah.
people selling all sorts of different modded cases and different things that look like system. Like I saw a guy the other day. I was looking, and he makes these mice that look like Apple II mice.
Yeah.
Okay, but now it's wireless, right? It's got all the modern functions of a normal modern day gaming mouse, but it looks like an old school Apple mouse, and it looks exactly like one of those old ball mouse. Or there's just, I'm building this Raspberry Pi system, right?
Yeah.
And you can put a cartridge in it, or not a cartridge, like an SSD hard drive, which is about this
Yeah.
big, about size of a deck of cards. But you can put a case around it, screw in the screws, and it
Yeah.
looks like a mini NES cartridge. Now, if you go on like some of these creative websites, there's people that make custom stickers for those to make it look identical to Super Mario 3, to Zelda, to Mario 2, to any game you want, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's getting crazy.
Well,
But
that's what's cool about that. But then you didn't have those capabilities. I mean, it was break. what the Raspberry Pi board is just groundbreaking. You know, it allows you to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like it's the bridge, like you say, between the consoles and PC. It's the bridge.
It's the bridge, exactly. It's
It's like,
amazing. I'm enjoying it because it's like I'm just thinking always about things the way to mod it out, how I want it to
mm,
look. And for me, I want mine to look like, because it's going to be a computer, but it's also going to be a game system, right, with a ton of different
yeah,
games. I want it to be something where I look at it and be like, I want it to look and feel like the console that I remember as a kid, which is the NES. In fact, I
yeah.
went and got this mouse. Let me see if you can see that. I'm gonna have to turn off
Oh
my.
no, yeah.
Let me see here. There it
Oh,
is.
I see it now. Wow, I didn't. That's cool. I like that.
And it's an NES mouse, and it feels. It has a little directional pad on here on the side,
I
but
love the buttons.
it's an NES wireless mouse that I can use with the Raspberry Pi. And it looks. I mean, it just matches, right?
Yeah.
I think that's really cool that you can kind of customize, and people do it for different things other than NES, like that, right?
Yeah, you
So
see, and this is the knockoff version. This is not the official one. This is, you see where it says entertainment system right there on the door.
right, right. I bought a case for my Raspberry Pi that's still on the way,
Yeah.
and it's going to be like that too. But on the door it says something else. But there's YouTubers out there, all right, like yourself, that
Yeah.
will teach you how to remove the old writing, and then there's stickers, which I've already got. I have in my possession that say Nintendo Entertainment System on it, and you just stick the sticker on there. Oh my god!
It wouldn't be hard on this one. I mean, it's a sticker on there. It's not like I have to use some paint thinner or something. It's a damn sticker on it. So I could just like peel that off. That's what I was thinking about moving this Retron 77. That's a
Oh wow!
H.
Look at that.
It's an HD Tari 2600, and then put it down here. But
Wow. I will have to come on the show once I complete the transformation of this thing, because I have a vision of what I want it to look like, and I've gotten all these stickers. I do have 2 hard drives for it and 2 cases, and I have 2 labels. I got a Legend of Zelda because one is a gold case and one is a gray case. And I said, well, I could have chose Super Mario 1 or Super Mario 3. To me, Super Mario 3 was like the ultimate Mario game ever made, honestly. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the Mario 3 with the cape and the yellow background. So I got those stickers, and they're just sitting around waiting for this damn thing to get here from China. And
that'd take a while.
But I will have to show it to you once it's done. And for a while I told Casey, I was like, maybe I'll sell it to you, but I decided not, because I honestly I look at, when I play these games on this thing, you put like 90,000, 50,000 games on here, not just from NES, from SNES, from and it's nice because maybe you don't have one of these systems around. Like here where I live, it's hard to find some of these retro systems, these old ones, the originals. And so I couldn't do it. I was like, I backed out because I was like, I'm going to finish the damn project. Maybe I'll sell it later on the road, but I think it'll have more value at that point.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, I just kept on forgetting about it. I wasn't actively say, all right, here's the money. So I was kind of like, when I get the money, it's so hard not to automatically just go game shopping. So, or pay my bills and then go game shopping.
I don't know if you can see this. There it is.
There you go.
Super Mario 3.
That's
label.
pretty badass.
And then, of course, we got over here. I'm not going to show you the Zelda one, but I'll show you this one here, though.
Oh, there you go.
There's the Nintendo logos, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got 2 of those if you want one. I don't need 2 of them. But the actual lid comes up on the damn thing. So you can see inside the slot, right? On the NES Classics, and even the clones, usually they don't open up.
Oh, no. I've seen people modify it so it could.
Yeah,
but,
you can do it. I mean, I've seen people modify and make it like a Raspberry Pi portable Game Boy. Looked like an original Game Boy that plays games all the way up to like a PlayStation 2. So
wow.
I was like, I got nothing. I would do that too, but it's like I don't know if I have enough money for that.
Well, hey, I'm about to wrap it up.
All right.
You know what? I always get people talking about those intros that you do, and I'm like, I don't want to take the credit. That's your work. I always try to push them to you, and that's why I did that one video. To like, if you guys want your intros, talk to beerstuff. He'll probably be open to do it. I mean, he does good work. I get compliments about it all the time. Like, believe me. I mean,
yeah. I mean, guys. Yeah. If anybody's interested in an intro, or maybe stream overlay graphics for OBS, or thumbnail images, you're not sure how to do it, you want some help to get started on it, let me know. I'll help you. All right. I'll just help you even. No cost. All right. And the same goes for if you need maybe you want a custom thumbnail made or an intro or whatever it is, depending on what you want, I'll do it for pretty damn cheap. Okay. Just because I like doing it. That's why I like doing it. It's a part of my normal job I have now. I like doing this stuff. So I'm not going to charge you an arm and a leg for it. Okay. We're talking, a couple bucks to $5 or something. Okay. The only thing is that making intros is you just got to be aware of what graphics you're using, or say I want this and this and this. Well, we can only go by what's available in the realm of no copyright, royalty free.
Exactly.
If it's somebody else has a license on that image, okay, well, there might be some things we can do to that image to make it look similar and not get violation for it, but we can't use the exact one. We can't. Same goes for music. It has to be something that is royalty free, copyright free. It can be close. It can be super close. And there's ones out there you can make it super close, but it can't be the same one. I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna lie. I took one of the Rocky one that you did for me.
Yes. I was like, I'm glad you did that too, because I was like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't use the Rocky one, because that one's got the actual music on it. So, yeah. But you did it so in a way that it puts in some extra notes on top of it, so that it's not recognizable. It's going to be a different music tone.
And it's pretty cool. It's like almost like a remix. Originally, I was going to just take that music completely out and just put Punch Out behind it. But I was like, and it sounded bad. So I was like, okay, let me see what I can mix it with. And I've found a perfect one that it's kind of like a more modern mix to the Rocket theme.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, that's what you got to do with these intros, is you just got to keep in mind that YouTube and it'll recognize this crap just by uploading it, right? It'll scan and look at all this music that's all over YouTube and all over the world, and say, okay, this belongs to this guy, this guy. And then, of course, somebody else could come along and be like, oh, that's my music. You don't have permission or whatever, right? Now, there's ways to fight that. But the main thing is just having common sense.
Yeah.
and that's all it's about. But if you have music that you've made maybe and you want on an intro and you don't know how to do it, fine, send it to me. I'll make you an intro and we'll work something out. But I'm willing to do that for a very low price, if not free, guys. Okay. I will do it because I like doing it. It's fun. I had a lot of fun with Casey's once.
Yeah.
You're on mute.
Thank you about that. I mean, I love all the ones that he did for me. I mean, I appreciate all of them, and I rotate through all the ones that you made for me. I mean, I probably need to throw the one that you did, the most recent one, in, but I used that one so much for a while, so I wanted to put the other ones through. But I mean, I appreciate all that work you done. So I mean, I don't want to take no credit for that. That's why I always direct them to you.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, I didn't do it. So
somebody told me recently, they'd like, hey, Brad, why don't you like make a quick video on showing how people can make for the thumbnails. For the thumbnails and just doing a video on it. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it because it's not something I want to charge for anyway, because it's super easy and easy. So I'm gonna try
I'm gonna stop it